Hello, beings of light. Today we will share the story of Sarah, who died during an operation and found herself in a black void. She recounts her encounter with Jesus and what he showed her during her experience. Shall we listen to her story? When I was 14, I had an accident, cutting my leg deeply, and was taken to the hospital. I saw my life flash before my eyes like a super-fast movie. I thought of all the people I loved and regretted any cruel actions. Time seemed to slow down, almost stopping, and I thought I was going to die. I questioned how I could die without a single happy memory, feeling like a wasted creation. My childhood was full of abuse, and I often felt angry for not having happy memories. In the hospital, I waited for hours, bleeding, until my father finally got a nurse. My kneecap was hanging, and I needed urgent surgery. They gave me gas to anesthetize me, but I remembered my grandfather waking up during surgery, and I was terrified it would happen to me. I inhaled the gas as much as I could, hoping to fall asleep. But I never lost consciousness. Instead, I started panicking internally. I couldn't move or scream, but inside I was screaming that I was still awake. Suddenly, I found myself floating on the ceiling of the operating room. I felt calm and weightless, almost as if I were bouncing between the ceiling and the floor. I heard a high-pitched sound that was both heard and felt, causing me pain. I expressed discomfort and, in a blink, I was transported to a black space, darker than anything I had ever experienced. I always feared the dark, thinking something might attack me. I tried to feel my body, but I couldn't. I thought I was dreaming, but didn't understand why I couldn't feel my body. I wanted to find a light switch or something. After a while, I saw a dot of light in the distance. The light approached quickly, and fearing it would hit me, I moved out of the way. When I turned around, I saw a magical light, full of colors like gold, white, and pink, all shining like a diamond. The light seemed alive and called me into it. I placed my hand in first, and the sensation was indescribable. I felt immense love, something words cannot express. When I fully entered the light, I felt loved and embraced in a way I had never felt before. It felt like someone was holding me tightly. For the first time in my life, I allowed my barriers to fall and let myself be carried away by the experience. I danced in the light, spun around, and felt incredibly happy. Finally, I had the chance to see how I looked, since I couldn't see or feel myself before. I could see myself in 360 degrees from the shoulders up. I realized I looked the same, but it didn't matter. Then I saw two beings of white light approaching. They had the shape of people, but were made of light. I thought the anesthetic was making me see things, but even after blinking several times, they looked the same. The beings communicated with me telepathically, telling me they knew where my father was and guiding me to him. We walked cautiously to the end of the light, where I was hesitant to enter. But I trusted the beings of light and passed through a kind of luminous door. As I crossed, I found myself experiencing it from an external perspective. I saw myself ascending towards a huge blur of clouds. I reached a place that I can only describe as a world of lights, where everything shone like diamonds. The trees, plants, and flowers were immaculate, with no dead leaves or broken branches. I walked along a path, admiring the beauty around me, until I reached a building made of crystalline material. There I saw 12 crystal walls with names written on them in different colors. They were names in English, which I could read, but I don't remember them now. I stared at the walls for a long time, trying to memorize everything. I saw two women coming towards me, and afraid to speak to anyone, tried to hide behind a tree. To my surprise, I managed to enter the tree. I was thrilled because I always wanted to know if I could do something like that. I watched the women pass without seeing me and stayed in the tree for a while, happy to be there. Then I heard a playful male voice ask if I would stay in the tree forever. I laughed and said I didn't know I could go anywhere else. The voice told me that this was my home and that I could go wherever I wanted. I started walking along the path, doing acrobatics, something I always loved as a child. It felt like I did everything perfectly, something I never achieved before. I entered an office or room where the view was breathtaking. I could see Earth, beautiful and full of color, through a floor-to-ceiling glass wall. Earth looked so close, and I was ecstatic about its beauty. I reflected on everything I had been through up to that point. I always wondered why God didn't protect me from the abuse I suffered. I loved God and wanted to know why He didn't intervene to help me, as He did with people in the Bible. I felt that no one liked or loved me in this world. As I thought about these things, I began to get answers. It was a soft, musical, male voice. I asked why God didn't protect me and heard that He would. I said no one believed me, but the voice replied that He did. It was incredible to feel someone supporting and believing in me. As I looked at Earth, I thought about how I always wanted to be more beautiful and heard that I was. I asked if I really was, and the voice confirmed it. I felt immense joy knowing that someone thought I was beautiful. I asked to sing well, and the voice said I already did. I wanted to be perfect, and the voice said I was. I asked if God loved me as He loved people in the Bible, and the voice said yes. Each answer I received made me feel lighter and loved. I felt that all the particles that made up who I was were exploding with love and joy. I said I just wanted to be with God, and the voice responded that I would be. As I turned around, I saw a beautiful man with an expression of pure love and joy. He was Jesus, and He hugged me so warmly that I felt like I was melting in His arms. We looked at each other for what seemed like an eternity. I asked Jesus if I had to sleep forever, and He laughed, saying no. Jesus told me that I would live forever, and that this place was my home. I felt indescribable happiness knowing that. Jesus asked if I wanted to stay or return to Earth. I said I didn't know what to do, but He replied that I should love and have fun. I said I loved everyone, and He smiled, saying He knew that. Still, I thought no one liked me on Earth. Jesus said I was loved, even if I didn't feel it. When I asked Him to come back with me, He said yes without hesitation. I was so happy that I couldn't express it in words. We were brought back to Earth in a way that felt instant, but I knew we traveled a great distance. I saw a flash of light, and then we were in space, above Earth. I paused to take one last look around before returning to my body. I felt at peace, floating, and a gentle breeze passed over me. It was so pleasant that I wanted to remember that feeling forever. As I re-entered my body, it was strange and uncomfortable. I felt like I was adjusting to a hollow shell. Finally, I reconnected with my body and spoke, asking for a mint. The nurses told me I could only have ice. I was taken to my room, where my father was waiting. I looked around, searching for Jesus, but I didn't see Him. I continued to wait to see Him again, knowing that He would always be with me in spirit. The experience changed my life forever, and now I know I am loved and special in God's eyes. While waiting for my recovery, I spent a lot of time reflecting on everything that had happened. I knew my life would never be the same. I started to notice how everything around me was connected in a way I had never noticed before. Every person, every event, every feeling seemed to be part of a bigger plan. I felt deep gratitude for having had this experience and for knowing God's love in such a direct and personal way. My recovery was long and difficult. I had to relearn to walk and deal with the physical and emotional scars left by the accident. But each day, I felt like I was growing and becoming stronger. There were moments when I doubted myself, but whenever that happened, I remembered Jesus' words and the love he showed me. That gave me the strength to continue and believe that everything would be okay. During this time, I started sharing my experience with others. At first, it was hard. Many people were skeptical or didn't believe me. Some even mocked my story. But over time, I found people who were willing to listen and who had also gone through similar experiences. We formed a support group and shared our stories and learnings. This helped me realize that I was not alone and that there were others who understood what I had been through. This experience also led me to seek more knowledge about spirituality and the purpose of life. I started reading books, attending seminars, and talking to people of different religions and beliefs. I discovered that, regardless of the differences, everyone was searching for the same thing: love, peace, and understanding. This broadened my worldview and helped me develop a deep empathy for others. As I recovered physically, I also began exploring new ways to express my spirituality. I found comfort in meditation and prayer, which became an important part of my daily routine. These practices helped me maintain the connection with the love and peace I felt during my near-death experience. I also started practicing yoga, which helped strengthen my body and mind. In time, I felt called to help others in a more meaningful way. I decided to study to become a spiritual counselor, so I could use my experience and knowledge to support and guide others on their spiritual journeys. I went back to school and dedicated myself to my studies with a new purpose and determination. Each class, book, and learning experience seemed to bring me closer to my goal of helping others. After graduating, I started working as a spiritual counselor in a local community. Helping people find their own path to peace and understanding became my passion. I felt fulfilled every time I could make a positive difference in someone's life. I also began giving talks and workshops, sharing my story and the lessons I learned along the way. Life, of course, still presented challenges. There were moments of doubt and difficulty, but whenever I faced these moments, I remembered the light and love I felt during my near-death experience. That gave me the strength and courage to keep going, knowing that no matter what happened, I was never truly alone. My journey since that day in the hospital has been long and transformative. I went from a scared, traumatized teenager to a strong, compassionate woman dedicated to helping others and sharing God's love. Every step of this journey taught me something valuable about myself and the world around me. Today, looking back, I feel deep gratitude for everything I've lived through. My near-death experience was a turning point, a moment that showed me the true nature of love and compassion. It inspired me to live my life in a way that reflects these values, to be a light for others, and to continue growing and learning every day. Amazing story of Sarah, isn't it? Even though she faced challenges, her NDE showed that in the end, light always prevails. And for those of us who haven't had such experiences, we can also transform our lives by learning from these accounts. In the end, all that matters is love. Thank you for watching the video up to this point. Subscribe to the channel to help us continue bringing this type of content. And if you liked this video, share it with those you love. See you next time.